Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this episode of the Pave It Forward podcast. My name is Phil Metzger, and with me is Kevin Gray, and we are here to help leaders in the paving industry who are looking to run more efficiently, meet their ideal customer, and improve the lives of those around them through meaningful work. Kevin, how are you today, and how's the season wrapping up for you?
Man, I'm good. It's a little chilly outside. I got the puffy vest on and the hoodie, and I even had to break out the Santa snow skiing hat just as a representation. It's been down in the single digits and teens here this week, which is very abnormal for early, December here. So I don't know, man. We've got the season is wrapping up, but we've got a couple weeks at least worth of work that we really need to get down. We just need Mother Nature to cooperate just a little bit longer so these plants can get above freezing and fired up, and we can get material to the job sites and get these customers taken care of, man. So we are on the precipice of hitting some of the financial goals we set out to do earlier this year. And if we could just get a couple weeks here, man, it'll make me a pretty proud dude. So
Absolutely.
yeah, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Just finished up some Thanksgiving break. I was actually up in the Northeast for a wedding and Thanksgiving with my wife's family. That was great.
That's awesome.
The weather here is in Colorado. We're still going to be in the 50s today, and the next 10-day forecast, the lowest temperature is 38.
I'm about to load the trailer up and head west, man.
There you go. That could be an off-season plan for you,
Right?
Someone else. But something I did not think about when you're talking about the asphalt plants being obviously the key factor in you being able to work. Is it the 50-degree mark that they kind of are also aiming for, or is that just on the applications?
I don't know. That's more on especially the surface application. Base binder, we can usually put down in much cooler, even down. And I've been watching it. I've had a little extra time to do some social media scrolling this week, and there's plenty of guys out there posting temps in the high 20s and low 30s out there getting stuff done. Around here, our plants kind of operate on the rule of thumb that it's going to be at least above freezing for them to fire up the plant, and that's probably them making a consideration on what they feel is safe to operate their plant, so they don't have some kind of major mechanical breakdown, or is the juice worth the squeeze, if you will? Is it worth us firing this multi-million-dollar facility up to make material if something catastrophic is going to break? So there's a little element of safety and precaution involved there. But there's people below freezing getting mix out there, and I've been watching it all week. So it's grind time. I quote American Pavement on here a lot, but they talk about the playoffs, and now everything they're putting up, it says World Series. So it's definitely the end. It's definitely coming down the home stretch. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know where I got the 50-degree mark. I know when it gets colder, you have less time to get the asphalt on the ground. Obviously, with it, you don't want it sitting in the trucks and things like that. But that's interesting because you do see people and different business owners kind of pushing it all the time. But you do see some good product also being laid down and stuff like that. So.
If you can deliver in those conditions, then go for it. I saw a paving crew. There's snow on the ground, and quite a bit of snow on the ground, and they were out there paving. So it's push time, man. And it's you've probably heard that 50-degree mark somewhere in our conversation. That's kind of my 45 to 50 degree, especially if we're doing any kind of residential work or surface course work. I don't like rolling the dice too much if it gets below 45, 50 degrees, especially if it's cloudy, maybe a little bit of wind going on. You got to think about it. You've got to load it in the truck at the plant. You've got to transport it down the highway in those temperatures to the job site. So as soon as that truck gets loaded and leaves the plant, that stuff's already starting to chill out. So, middle of summer, that material can sit on a truck 8-12 hours. We've had times where we've had a truck breakdown or something that we've been able to let material sit on the truck overnight and get, it was still warm the next morning to where it was usable, or we could get it out of the truck, whatever needed to happen. So that's not the case now. It's a race to pick it up from the plant, get it to the job site and get it into the machine and on the ground as quick as possible, so we can get it finished and get it to look good. So
Yeah, yeah, it's always interesting to me. It's how different systems work, different business systems, different mechanical systems, and just to think of that um, in that sort of way, kind of the race against cooling, and even when you're talking about asphalt, that even is several hundred degrees, with a 10 to 15 degree difference in the outside temperature, how that can affect, the process that you have to change and implement. And so
yeah.
it's always interesting to me to understand things like that. And it's kind of information like that that we're excited to talk today about a new system that we've come up with. We've used all of our knowledge to try to put together a base formation for an 8-week off-season course. And it's very exciting because we're really approaching this from a mentor space. And what we're announcing today is called Asphalt Operating System, which is that 8-week course from January to February of 2025. And as you wrap up this season, you have another 4 weeks. If we get 4 weeks of paving in, hey man, we're golden. We're going to hit those goals. But after that season does eventually wrap off, we're trying to place this at a time that is the off season for, or at least the slower time for a lot of paving companies around the United States. So I know for me to be on my end and to have seen 7 or 8 years now of questions come in to you from social media networks. Later, we've done some paving industry reports. We've spoken at conferences. We've done classes and workshops. So we've gotten a good pulse on what it is that asphalt paving business owners, especially ones that may be at the beginning of their journey or just finding that they're not getting results year after year, they're kind of falling into the same holes, to put a structure around that where people can sit listening to you and some other instructors that we'll be announcing here throughout the next couple of weeks, but to be able to do that in a structured session over an 8-week period. It'll be 2 hours per day. Then there will be plenty of opportunity for the participants to take their off time, implement it into their own businesses and into their own systems that they're running for their business. But each week we'll address a different topic. We will have different deliverables, different templates, checklists, things like that we'll get into in a little bit that you'll be able to walk away with as a participant. But each week we really try to give the participants of this program some mentorship type advice, followed by some concrete things that they can implement into their company. And one thing we want to emphasize is that the growth of a company is much more than an 8-week course, but what we are delivering here are some frameworks that you can take into 2025 and beyond that are tested and taught by mentors. So Kevin, I know that was a soapbox moment for me there. I'm so excited to be able to do this, particularly for the asphalt paving industry, because it is one that gave you my shot. With you 8 years ago, it is the first blue collar system-based hard-nosed kind of construction-based company that gave me a shot. And I love how you can take something that is not built and build it into something great, and also run that company and give workers a chance to live the life that they want to live. But in order to do that, you have to run a good business. And so what is it? Can you just talk to me about what it means to you to be a mentor for this program, and what mentors have done for you in the past as far as able to bring your business processes along a little bit quicker and maybe avoid a few headaches throughout the years of growth for you?
Yeah, man, it's I've spoken about it a lot on several of the podcasts we've done, and over the course of our 8-year relationship, I'm sure. And I wouldn't be where I'm at today without great mentorship and great community and people that I can lean on to help me get through some of my growing pains, through hurdles, through challenges, setbacks. I mean, you name it. All these things, these variables are going to come at you when you decide that, hey, I want to be a business owner. I want to start a business. I want to get into the asphalt paving industry and take off. I mean, there's definitely going to be bumps along the road, and there's nothing greater nothing helped me out more than having the ability to reach out and call somebody or go spend some time with someone and watch their operations for a week or two and really start, wrapping my arms around what a good business model can look like in this industry, and how we can grow and how we can give back to the community, how we can build a better culture, how we can attract better employees. And it just starts to snowball when you start just picking up those actionable pieces of getting better a day at a time, a month at a time, a season at a time. It really starts to build that structure behind building a great business. And you mentioned that this is just an 8-week program, but it's much more than that. It's going to introduce people to industry veterans, and then we were bringing in some guys that have much more experience than I do. I've been doing this. This is my 16th season, and we're bringing in some folks that have been doing it much longer than that. So it's going to give people a connection to that kind of mentorship. It's going to give people connection to a community of other business owners, paving and asphalt professionals that they can link up with and communicate with on a regular basis going forward. So yeah, I mean, it's not 8 weeks and then, hey, we'll see you later. We wish you the best of luck. It's the start of building a community of people that want to be better, not just for themselves, but for their families, for their teams, for their communities, for their culture. I mean, and the list goes on. Again, it kind of just starts compounding on itself when you start getting these pieces going together. So I started this when I purchased an asphalt paving business. I got involved in 2009, 2010, kind of shadowing the business that we eventually bought, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing, and it would have been, I can't even tell you, it probably would have been a 5, 7, maybe even a 10-year process for me to figure out some of the things I was able to expedite into maybe just a 2 to 4 year window instead of a 7 to 10 year window, because of community, because of good mentorship, because of people that were willing to help me out, take my phone, help me out, take my phone call, listen when I was in a jam or whatever. So that's really all we're trying to do. We're trying to, help folks expedite their learning curve and get involved with the community so you can reach those dreams, much faster than you could alone. That's what it comes down to for me, man.
Yeah, and I really love that, as you said, even though the program will be 8 weeks as far as the actual structured sessions with mentors, you and I will be there for the remainder of 2025. So I personally am holding myself accountable for being there for the business owners that decide to join us, to best support them and at least provide them answers, and if not answers, turn to the community to where we can find the best solution. And so you get to be a part of that. When we were narrowing down what topics to try to put into 8 weeks as just foundational aspects to start to make sure that companies feel like they have a grasp on, there was over 120 topics that made the list of semi-finalists, we'll say, because running a business is incredibly intricate, it's incredibly difficult, and it takes patience and determination and some stick-to-itiveness. So to be able to reduce that down to 8 weeks of just core concepts, we really feel like that is encompassing the things that are foundational. And what that meant for me when I was first starting my business, I guess about 6 years ago, I took a course that was on video production. And even though I knew 90 to 95% of what was in that video, to have the confidence then to know that what I felt was important about business, what I felt like was a launching point for me to step up on and say, this is what I do, and I do a damn good job of it, and feel like I can continue to represent myself and other people through that brand that I had, it really transformed me, because people saw and I felt what it was like to do a good job and deliver on my promises. I came up through my education. I was not able to go through a traditional college education because of ADHD, essentially. I didn't know it at the time, but reading large amounts of text was extremely frustrating. And once I got to college, I really had to spend a year or two just understanding how I was going to go through life without learning how everyone else did. So long story short, when I took 5, 7 years before I took this course to try to understand my craft, I had no clue if I was doing a good job. You look at, especially social media will glorify all the great things that other companies are doing. No one, especially at that time, showed the behind the scenes and how things got done, and YouTube was just starting, so there weren't as many tutorials. So through different educational courses, essentially, I have built 3 different companies now that I am very, very, very proud of. And I cannot wait to do that for the questions and the submissions and the people that have been reaching out to us now for 7 years. So when it comes to having that confidence that mentors that the participants we have heard of before can look up and see that they're on LinkedIn, can look up and see that they've had guest appearances and taught, and can see their style, and to be able to pack 8 weeks of structured, regular knowledge that on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. West Coast, that I'm going to sit down and I'm going to absorb information from mentors. I'm going to have things that I can think about throughout the next week, and I'm going to have a template or checklist that corresponds with what they're talking about to be able to put into action, put into place for this next season. I'm so excited to be able to do that, and it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you so far on this and feel what's coming. And I just couldn't be more excited about getting this thing started.
Yeah, I mean, it's this has been something we've kind of been dreaming of for a long time. We weren't, I, I think we've had some different ideas along the years of how we would, present it or bring it to life, or, bring it out to the public or whatever. But I feel like the timing's right. And you said it, man. I've been answering questions for folks for a decade through DMs, or calling me, or just whatever. I mean, it's in the hundreds. I mean, and that something in that has told us that, hey, man, there's a need for this. For whatever reason, people have kind of gravitated towards us as a leader in the industry, and so it's just time that we give back to this community that served us for the better part of a decade and a half. I mean, I remember being that guy that was just starting out and didn't have a clue and didn't know who to call or whatever. So I'm excited. There's, aside from professionally, aside from running my business and creating a culture and giving back to the community and doing things we do with our business, there's nothing that makes me happier than being able to help someone else succeed and reach their dreams and be excited about that. And that's what we're doing here. And I just love giving back to this industry. I just always have, and it's now we have a platform to be able to do so in a more structured way. And look, I mean, these 8 weeks are nice and the community is nice, but really being able to give people the tangible assets that they can take back and implement and put into their own businesses immediately, to where they're not having to. I mean, there's some spreadsheets and data tracking and things that I created over the years that I would spend months on trying to figure it out, or tweaking it, or fine tuning it. And I still do that. Like, don't get me wrong, like that's always an evolving thing. But for us to be able to give people those kind of things that they can at least start off with in their businesses, and tie right into what they're doing in their day-to-day operations. I mean, that's a huge burden lifted right there. So
Sure,
we
and to be
thought
able to
about
turn
it.
around and to be able to turn around and say, I don't understand this, whether it be directly to
Yeah,
us or to the community, and then we give a response. And if you do propose it to the community, maybe someone else has a different way of doing it. We
100%.
have a small discussion.
Yeah.
I will take on the burden of trying to produce the best answer after that, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're sitting there claiming that we are the authority in this. We're, it's opening a community, which in turn should bring a heck of a lot of collaboration and idea sharing. And I guarantee you, somebody is going to have a better way of doing something than even we do when we get involved with this. So that's where the magic starts happening. And I tell you, another piece of the magic that happens is just being able to have somebody to call or reach out to, or to tell you something that you're thinking is a good idea, or to caution you that, hey, maybe that isn't a great idea. So you can, just sometimes just getting that vote of confidence, like you just said, things I was thinking or believing in or thought that might be good ideas or the way to go. Have someone that's been doing it a long time validate that. I mean, the boost of confidence that gives a business owner is immense sometimes, and sometimes that's just the little nudge you need to move the ball down the court.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we look at kind of the ideal business owner, that might be debating on whether this is for them. Typically, we're looking to we feel like with business owners that have been in business at least 1 year, perhaps if you're looking at buying a business, this could be a useful course, or if you're thinking about getting into the family business. But um, business owners between 1 and maybe 6 years of being in business, maybe 7. If you've been in business for 4 to 7 years and you're just stuck, you found that you're having the same problems year after year. You're not making any money. You're finding that something's wrong with the crew. You can't quite get the right people in there. These are the things that we've heard again and again and again as far as problems, not only through our research, but through people coming to us. So if you're looking to kind of take that next step to where you can solidify a crew, solidify your financial processes, and also have with these resources, that's what I was going to say, Kev. With these resources that we're providing, we want to teach all principle-based things, and we want deliverables that can be used with resources like Google Sheets, Google Docs, things that no matter what program you're running, you can access them for free. And we're also going to be setting up a database to where any of the documents that we're learning or teaching, you can always have that as a resource to be able to pull from. And personally, from my side, that's the thing I love about business, is being able to set up the systems behind everything to make sure that you're getting the data that you need. So, you mentioned a little bit about how in the early years, you had gotten some advice that really saved you maybe even some years of time. Is there any particular mentors that you think of when you think about the people that have helped you in the early years?
Yeah, two of them really come to mind, and that is Joe Doherty here in Louisville, who's he was the president at the time of Louisville Paving and Construction. He's now the CEO. And that guy at that time was running $100 million construction company. I think they're close to a $500 million construction company now. But I mean, he would answer the phone anytime I called. We'd go out to lunch quite a bit, and just those conversations. Anytime, and he would always help me out with if I needed some, and that's where it helps for me to get involved with people, especially maybe even in your direct community too, is find someone that's willing to help a young guy kind of starting out, because he would help me with equipment. He would help me with trucking if we needed a bunch of extra trucks for a job, or we needed a bigger roller, or if God, I don't know how many times our paver broke down in the first few years because we just had one and it was a piece of shit. And we'd be in the middle of the job and something would happen, and I always had someone I could call that could kind of bail me out. And if he couldn't bail me out, at least give me some solid advice on what to do next, because I'm just sitting there and the customer's getting more and more frustrated, and money's just falling out of the trees and blowing everywhere. I mean, it could get messy real quick. So it was him, and then my ex-wife's cousin down in Atlanta, Georgia, owns and operates Athens Atlanta Asphalt, and I'd go down because their season would go quite a bit longer than ours, being 6-7 hours south of us. So a lot of winters I'd go down there and spend a week or two with them, just observing or participating with their crews and watching how they operate. And he really taught me the production and logistics side of this business, which is a huge concept that would have taken me years to wrap my arms around. Use a skid steer here instead of just how to implement different pieces of equipment and the proper processes and procedures to streamline things and to get things going more efficiently, and how to not overuse manpower, and just on and on and on. And just he was a great resource. Always had an open door, had an open heart. and just someone, those two guys, I wouldn't be where I'm at today with the foundational stuff that the two of them taught me early on before. And that was back, 2011, 12, 13, 14, before this social media thing really started happening. And there was community you could find out there online, or any kind of networking groups, or, there's a few around now that have come forward within the industry, but there really just wasn't much out there. So it was just good old fashioned mentorship, and friendship. And so it was amazing just to have those two men in my life that I could pick up the phone or go see or grab a lunch with almost any time. I mean, and as busy as those two guys are, to be able to make time for someone like myself, I can't explain the feeling that gave me, and the confidence that gave me as a young business owner, that kind of let me breathe that sigh of relief that, okay, I can figure this out. Things are going to be okay. I understand exactly what you just taught me. Now let's go put it into action. That's what that's all about. That was my first sense of any outside community within this industry when I was getting going. So that's there's the strength that can be found in community and mentorship is amazing. And if you're holding yourself up and trying to do this on your own and white knuckling this thing, that can become a lonely, stressful, anxious, fearful kind of place. And that's what we're here to try to help solve.
Yeah, it's exciting because I know for a fact that anybody that's doubting, if they go through the course, there's going to be so many times throughout the season when a piece of knowledge will pop up in their brain and they will be so thankful that they know it, because that's what happens with experience and that mentorship and education,
Sure.
especially when you can put a face and a personality and someone who's giving time behind their knowledge instead of just reading it from a book or something like that. Just to break down what the 8 weeks are going to be. Starting with week 1, it'll be financial foundations part 1. Week 2 is going to be financial foundations part 2. It's the only 2-part of the entire structure because we believe that the financial foundation is what business is built on, and you need to make sure you're making money. Week 3 is operations analysis. Week 4, staff and hiring the right people. Week 5, market analysis and target customer. Week 6, sales and customer service. Week 7, daily business flow and daily operations. And week 8, 2025 goals and sustaining through the rest of the year. So I love this. This is what took the most time was if, you have your master's in business. It took years to be able to introduce even the main principles of what everything in business is. But to try to take everything that we feel is important and to put it out logically, this is what we came up with, and I'm pretty excited about it, especially ending with the 2025 goals. We're taking everything that you've kind of learned through the program, everything about the finances, the data, and management of both finances and crew, and we're going to put it into that last week, helping you define your 2025 goals and kind of the key performance indicators. We also have a system which we just believe in checking in quarterly, as far as at very minimum to make sure you're hitting those top business goals. And we'll of course introduce some concepts just about weekly goals and daily operations, but we really want to make sure that the people that take this program, if willing to put in the time to improve their business, we want to support them and make sure that it's working. Because that's who we are. We don't feel like 100%. Doing things where we're just going to leave people hanging and we just cut it off. So I'm really excited about that kind of overview. And for me personally, I'm excited to talk about the marketing aspect. I'll hop in there and just kind of give a breakdown of some digital marketing fundamentals, some brand and social media fundamentals, along with some Google thoughts. But Kevin, when you kind of hear about those 8 different weeks, did anything kind of pop up as something you're interested to either be a part of or something that stuck out as beneficial for you or something you wish you had years ago?
The financial piece is huge, and that's something you do need to get a grasp on as early as possible, because I understand, and maybe it was because where my mentorship led me, but I grasped the earliest things I started grasping were kind of operations analysis, production, logistics, things like that, daily business flow, and that's where I kind of figured out how to become profitable in this industry. But in the same breath, if you don't understand how all your finances are working and how your overhead costs are involved and your production costs kind of commingle, you really don't understand how to put it all together. So I don't know. The operations has always been something I've gravitated towards because that's something I feel like I've gotten pretty good at in my career. So that's something that I like. That feels like the easiest thing that I can give back, or they're the most immediate things that I can give back. But all of this stuff's exciting because when I think back to when I was first in business, I mean, even going through business school and being in corporate America for a few years before I decided to buy a business, like some of this stuff, should have been kind of obvious to me, and it wasn't because I'd never really done it hands-on or had to control it all kind of myself and understand what all of it meant and how all of it worked together. So I think it's a great foundational overview of things to get into. And there's so much in here because they all affect each other. The finances, it affects staff and hiring the right people, and culture and production and efficiencies interact with consumer experience, and so it all really is one ecosystem. And there's several different branches or parts to that, and to be able to go through all of them and talk about them independently, but then also be able to kind of regurgitate how they all blend together and work in harmony almost is going to be pretty cool. So it's and that's why understanding and learning each one of these individually is important, because if you can get a grasp at least on all 8, then you really start seeing how they all can start working together, and that becomes part of, or probably becomes the root or the base of what it starts looking like to own and operate a thriving business. It's exciting, man.
I'm pumped. I'm excited to continue building out the final touches of the program and recording some of these videos with the instructors. That'll be supplementary videos. But if you are interested right now, we do have a tiered pricing program. So go to asphaltoperatingsystem.com. You'll see all the information, a lot more information. Check us out on social medias. We're at Asphalt Operating Systems on pretty much anywhere you look: LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We'll definitely be updating Instagram and LinkedIn very often. But check out asphaltoperatingsystem.com. And once again, it's an 8-week program starting January 8th on Wednesdays. And come join us for 2 hours on Wednesdays, and we would love to have you. I know I personally am really excited to be able to talk to with other instructors here, and just get those other points of view and really work with on this kind of foundational program. Because to be able to take the information from the mentors this off season, to be able to grow a community and have people succeeding in a way that has not happened yet in the asphalt paving industry as a community. There are definitely communities out there that are good, but it's been, I told you, it's been nice to hear from the instructors, the potential instructors we're talking to, that this is badly needed out there, that there are there's a need for quality education specifically in the asphalt paving industry. And for us to be able to see that on our end, to get those messages, to get those emails, and to be speaking with people and see the gap, and then to hear from other industry professionals that they're getting the same messages that we're getting, and that they're trying to do what they can to offer mentorship and help, but are interested in formalizing that. And it's just really great to hear. And I highly encourage anyone, even if you're just curious about the system, check out asphaltoperatingsystem.com. And please feel free to contact us through any of the methods here, and even through Pave It Forward, Kevin at Pave It Forward, if you have any questions for him. Kevin, that was a lot, man. Obviously, I'm so excited to be doing this with you. I'm so excited that you're joining me as an instructor. But is there anything in kind of going over all this that you feel like we may have missed or that you wanted to touch on?
I just can't emphasize enough that the sense of what the sense of community can do as far as your confidence and really expediting your learning curve. Because it's I was taught this by another mentor of mine, and he used to say it all the time. Is that you can't have things you want to gain as you own and operate a business, or you got to gain wisdom, but you can't gain wisdom unless you have experience, and it's hard to have wisdom and experience. You've also got youth involved, and it doesn't necessarily mean youth by age, but it could be youth by years in business or educate. Just your lack of experience or the lack of wisdom you've gained because you've been stuck in a rut or doing the same thing repeatedly over and over and over. So it's if we can expedite getting people to have some experience and have some wisdom, so they're not stuck so as long in that youth stage of starting, growing a business, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's what this is here to do, and that's exciting because, like you said, I mean, through the last decade of messages we've received, I've received, that you've received, that Pave It Forward as a podcast has received over the years. Like you said, these instructors we're talking to that have been getting messages for probably a decade as well, and just haven't had a platform to be able to strategically disseminate this information out there to, at the end of the day, help our industry. This has never been about and will never be about me making any kind of real financial gain off of this. I think people are going to see that when they go to sign up to see how affordable this is. It's obviously not money grab. It's not something we're doing to stuff our coats over the winter or anything like that. There's obviously some administration. You've got months of work put into this program, and to be charging as little as we are for people to get a seat, I mean, that's probably not even paying for the admin or the work or the research, the document, just all the implementation you've done over the last several months to get this program off the ground. So let's not get it twisted here, that because there's plenty of snake oil salesmen out there that are coaches or mentors that are trying to do this just so they can make a buck. I think you'll see from our program and from the people that we're getting involved within the industry with this program that we are genuinely here to give back to the industry that we all love. And that's all it's about, man.
Yeah. I have not the best salesman. I don't like to say negative things.
Yeah,
you could tell me you could tell I was stumbling earlier. But it is true. We're not trying to make much money off this. It starts at $25 a week here in the first week of December. It'll go up next week if you're listening to this later. And before the course, it'll end at about $500 and tiered up as you go from there. But starting at $25 per week, we wanted to make it extremely affordable. I am definitely not making money off this, and that is absolutely fine by me. You and I both have a passion for this. This is something we both have inside of us as far as wanting to teach. I'm thrilled that I get to do this through Asphalt Paving. I'm not going to be doing this through any other method because it's a system. I actually thought about starting my own asphalt paving business when we moved to Colorado, but it's a system that I really like. It's a system that is simple if you can understand the base elements of both the field and the finances. It is something that you can absolutely build into something as big as you want. You can 100%. Be a 5-man crew and roll if you want, you know what I mean? Or you can build this thing up into where you're servicing multi-states. And that's what's exciting, is that we've had the experience now. We've had the conversations. We've met the people. We've interacted with the people. We've received the education. We've given the education. And it's so nice for me to be able to offer this at the price that I paid for that course that I took in video. That made me feel.
Yeah, man.
That made me feel like I am a professional. I can lead people, and I'm ready to say this is what I do for a living proudly, and give people my number, give people my business card, because before that, it wasn't always that way. So from a partner standpoint, thank you, Kevin. But also you've been
Thank you.
also one of those people that have helped me disseminate some of the business side information and let me learn. And I'm extremely proud and happy that other people are going to get to take advantage of this for a very affordable price. And on the back end, they have you and I the rest of 2025 to try to make
That's
it
right.
right for them. So it's $25 a week for the 8-week course. You know, you put that over 52 weeks, you know, you're paying less than $1 a day, you know.
I got, I'll tell you this, it's funny. I got myself and Elizabeth and our 4 children. I got us all Starbucks before we went and picked out a Christmas tree yesterday evening, and I spent $45 on one rip at Starbucks. So I mean, $25 a week seems pretty reasonable.
The program is a heck of a deal. And please ask us if you have any questions and head over to asphaltoperating Also, check us out at Pave It Forward LLC on Instagram and Pave It Forward on YouTube. We're also going to be fairly active on LinkedIn as well. We love the business community on LinkedIn, so check us out there. Other than that, Kevin, any last words for the people today?
No, man, I'm excited. I'm excited again. This has been a long time coming, and it's pretty cool. This is kind of cool for me because I have, we bought the business back in 2011. It was founded in '59, so it was a hair over a 50-year-old business that was historically doing $500,000 in revenue year after year after year after year after year, and they almost declared bankruptcy. I mean, debt was compounding, and it was just getting bad and grim, and kind of just stuck in that rut. And through good mentorship, through good community, we're able to take that business from $500,000 and grew it to a $6-7 million company over the next decade or so. And it's cool because I'm starting from scratch again. We're starting brand new with a new business. So being able to take all the things that I've learned over the course of my career, and man, I don't know how many thousands of dollars we've spent going to conventions and educational seminars, just all the things acquired over all the years that we're going to be able to give back to the folks and share with the industry is it's exciting, man.
I was just thinking too, all the broken equipment, all those lessons
Oh,
that you learned, like,
dude.
man, you save one piece of broken equipment, the course will pay for itself, I
No
promise.
doubt.
Uh, but yeah, Kev, I appreciate your time as always. Let us know if you have any questions, and until then, we will see you on the next episode.